Virginia Graham Baker, June 28, 2002. A 7-year-old girl sat down in a hot tub at a friend's house. Graham had been swimming since she was 3. She competed on her local swim and dive team. She was not afraid of water. She settled onto the seat directly above the drain. The drain cover was flat. Large holes. The most common design in pools across the country. The suction locked her body against the opening. She could not kick free, could not push off the bottom, could not move at all. The force holding her down was later estimated at 700 pounds. Her mother found her and pulled with everything she had. Graham did not move. Nancy opened her eyes underwater and looked for what was holding her daughter down. She saw nothing. She kept pulling. 2 men ran over and both gripped Graham together. They pulled so hard the drain cover broke off from the force. Graham had been under too long. Paramedics could not revive her. Her official cause of death was suction entrapment due to a faulty drain cover. A flat cover with large holes creates a perfect seal when a body sits on top of it. A sealed drain with a running pump and no airspace produces maximum suction with nowhere to release. That design had been sold and installed across the country for decades. The Consumer Product Safety Commission had documented 147 entrapment incidents between 1985 and 2002. 36 of those ended in death. The information existed. Nothing had been done. Tanya Nickens, May 1996, Wall Township, New Jersey. 16-year-old Tanya Nickens was at an after-prom party at the Atlantic Club, a health facility. 300 high school students, no alcohol, supervised by faculty. By any measure, a safe night. Tanya and a group of friends climbed into the hot tub. She ducked under the water, apparently just to wet her hair. She did not come back up. The drain grate at the bottom of the tub had cracked and broken from years of stress. Without an intact grate, the 10-horsepower motor driving the tub's circulation created 12 tons of suction pressure at the opening. Tanya's thighs and buttocks were pulled into the drain and held there. Her friends tried to pull her free. They could not move her. A lifeguard tried. She could not move her an inch. A police officer at the party jumped in, uniform and gun still on. Other officers arrived and joined the effort. Nobody could free her. Someone finally located the emergency shutoff in the basement. Several minutes had passed by the time the pump went off. Tanya was pronounced dead that night. She was 16. Valerie Lakey, June 24th, 1993. Cary, North Carolina. 5-year-old Valerie Lakey was playing in a children's wading pool at a local recreation club with her father. The drain cover had been removed at some point before their arrival. Nobody had noticed. Valerie sat on the open drain. The suction gripped her instantly. Her father, David, grabbed her and pulled. He could not free her. He called for help. 3 more adults got into the pool and all pulled together. 4 adults. They could not move a 5-year-old girl. Someone turned off the pump. Only then could David lift his daughter out of the water. The suction had pulled 80% of Valerie's small and large intestines out of her body. She survived, but she required intravenous feeding for 11 hours every day for the rest of her life. Investigation found that the manufacturer of the drain cover, Stay Right Industries, had documentation of at least a dozen similar incidents before Valerie's accident. Their product came with instructions to fasten the cover with screws. It did not include any warning that an unfastened or missing cover could disembowel a child. Stay-Right knew. The warning was never added. Abigail Taylor, June 29th, 2007. 6-year-old Abigail Taylor was at the Minneapolis Golf Club in Minnesota. At the end of a session in the children's wading pool, Abby sat down on the pool floor above the main drain. The drain cover was not on the drain. It was lying loose on the floor next to the open hole. Nobody had checked. The suction hit her body instantly. The force tore 21 feet of her small intestine out of her body in seconds. Abby stood up, walked to the pool's edge, and collapsed. Her family thought she was having a seizure. Over the following 9 months, she had 16 surgeries. She could no longer eat or drink. Every nutrient entered her body through an IV. In December, she received a rare triple organ transplant: a new liver, small intestine, and pancreas. She was 6 years old. Complications followed: infections, then a transplant-related cancer, chemotherapy. On March 20th, 2008, 9 months after sitting on a drain in a wading pool, Abigail Taylor died. Investigators found that 8 days before Abby was injured, the golf club held a staff safety meeting. The written minutes listed drain cover dangers explicitly. Exact language, loose or missing covers. Result: disembowelment or death. The pool manager had physically brought replacement covers to show the staff. Nobody went to check the wading pool afterward. The drain assembly had been replaced twice in 3 years. Both times the maintenance worker threw away the bottom component. A correctly installed cover resisted 500 pounds of pressure. The version in that pool gave way at 12 pounds. The drain cover in Abby's case was manufactured by Starrite, the same company whose product was involved in Valerie Lakey's case 14 years earlier. Akiazi Water Park, June 23, 2017. 3 children aged 12, 15, and 17 were swimming in a pool at a water park in Akiazi, northwest Turkey. A fault in the park's underwater electrical system released current into the water. Electricity in a pool produces no warning. The water does not change. There is no visible sign. The only indication is what happens to the body of the person who touches it. The current locked their muscles. Legs stopped kicking. Arms stopped working. They began to go under. The park's 58-year-old manager, Mehmet Kaya, saw the children struggling. He jumped in. His 30-year-old son, Kadir, saw his father enter the water and jumped in after him. The moment both men entered the pool, the current moved through them the same way it had moved through the children. All 5 were rushed to hospital. None of them survived. The park had no residual current breaker, a standard device that cuts power in fractions of a second when current leaks where it should not. Not present. The underwater equipment had not been inspected on schedule. The fault that electrified the pool could have been found before the season opened. The inspection was never performed. The man who failed to install the safety device was the same man who jumped into the water to save the children it was supposed to protect. Action Park, Vernon Township, New Jersey. A water park opened a wave pool it called the Tidal Wave Pool. Everyone else called it the Grave Pool. The pool held 1,000 people. Waves reached 40 inches. It ran on fresh water, not salt water. Fresh water provides almost no buoyancy. The ocean keeps you afloat. This pool did not. Action Park drew large crowds from New York City, many of whom could not swim. Some stepped into 8 feet of churning fresh water and discovered this at the worst possible moment. 12 lifeguards were stationed at the pool at all times. On busy weekends, those 12 guards made 30 rescues per day. Not per season. Per day. Swimmers pulled out were sometimes given wristbands marking them as non-swimmers. Some walked back in the same afternoon. July 24th, 1982. 15-year-old George Lopez drowned. New Jersey classified the wave pool as a swimming pool, not a ride. Swimming pools only required clean water and lifeguards. No structural changes required. The machine stayed on. August 1984. 20-year-old Donald DePass drowned. 20 lifeguards on duty. 1,000 people in the water. July 19th, 1987. 18-year-old Gregory Granchamps drowned. 3 people. Same pool. 5 years. The park received safety citations throughout the 1980s and was fined once. When Action Park closed in 1996, it had caused 6 deaths and more than 2,400 personal injury lawsuits. Gene Mulvihill, the founder, was not a man who lost sleep over it. His son described him plainly: not a worrier, a doer. 3 of the people he was not lying awake thinking about were George Lopez, Donald DePass, and Gregory Granchamps. All 3 drowned in a pool his park kept running after each of them went under and did not come back up. Some of the most preventable deaths in history do not happen in dangerous places. They happen in clean water on a hot afternoon. Because a drain cover costs a few more dollars than the wrong one. Because a maintenance worker threw away the safe part and nobody checked. Because a warning was never printed on a box. Because a device that trips in a fraction of a second was never installed. The water looks exactly the same whether it is safe or not.